I will admit, I'm a little obsessed with plane crashes. I like to watch different stories and find out how people survived. Looking at different plane crashes, you will see that pretty much every plane crash, the wings are still attached to the fuselage of the plane. That's because the wings have to carry tens of thousands of pounds in weight. They are double, triple, quadruple reinforced. One of the safest places you could sit on a plane is generally where the wings are. If you ever look at plane crashes, if a plane lands really hard, the tail tends to snap off. If it hits the nose, it might crack in 2 different places, but the wings always stay intact. The wings might snap off at the ends if you hit the ground hard, but they are still intact around the body, and the body of the plane is intact where the wings are. For starters, that's one of the safest places to sit. However, there was an accident in 2018 where a piece of the engine broke off and went through the fuselage of the plane and hit a passenger. The passenger ended up dying and was the only passenger that passed away. After that, the industry changed so that those engines and every engine that's like that type of engine is ultrasounded every 6 months to make sure that can't happen again. However, if you are worried about that happening, all you need to do is make sure that your seat is a little bit farther forward than the wings, because if a piece of the engine breaks off and enters the fuselage again, it's going to go towards the back of the plane and not the front. That's because you're flying forward. If you're on a smaller plane where the engine is on the tail, like on the Embraer 145, you don't need to worry at all because that engine will not go into the body of the plane. Again, the safest place is going to be on the wings because not only are they reinforced, but that's usually where the emergency exit is. That is how you pick your seat. Figure out what's best for you. Then if you want to know which ones have most legroom, check out sites like Seat.com. They detail out every single plane and where the planes accidentally gave a little bit of extra room. One of the planes I fly is the Embraer 170. If I were to pick a seat on that plane myself, I would probably pick 21D. It does not have more legroom at all. In fact, the legroom is fairly short. It's more for short people. However, because of where they put the seat, the fuselage comes in on the right next to the seat by the window. They have blocked off that seat by the window by putting a tray table on the seat. Then there's 2 tray tables on the backs of the seats. That seat is the only seat in the 170 that is by itself other than first class. First class, the A seats are by themselves, but 21D has 3 trays and it's got 2 under the seat areas where you could put your bag. That's the best seat in the house on the 170. I also fly the 175, but it doesn't have anything like that. If I were on the 175, I would probably either try to get first class or main cabin extra because those have more legroom and free alcohol. Not that we're allowed to drink in uniform.